Hey everybody, today's video is about 3 books that I cannot wait to tell you about. 3 books that I cannot get out of my head. 3 books that I am 100% sure you're gonna love. So I better start telling you about them right now because I cannot wait. Let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? I hope you guys are doing very, very well. So work has definitely taken over my weekday life. I have to be honest with you guys. So I have not been able to do anything video or channel related at all during the work week. So I have been able to, or am trying to be able to shift myself to doing all of this stuff on the weekend. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to get my hands around that, my mind around it. But that being said, today's video is one that I've been waiting to do because there have been 3 books that I've read recently that I cannot get out of my head. They are fantastic. Now they will also be in a wrap-up video later if you want to wait for that, but I wanted to do my own video on them because I really want you guys to get your hands on them. So get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you're so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore. 2 are out already. 1 comes out later this month, so you can get your hands on them soon. If you are a library user, get your library to order a copy for you and or digitally order it, however you utilize your library. Please do so. So the first book I'm going to tell you about actually would have been a great book to read in October, but it's so fantastic, you guys, that you will want to read it all year long. And that is Ring Shout by Djeli Clark, out from TorDotCom. I'm going to hold that up there. This is another novella from TorDotCom, and let me just tell you, I have not read one novella from them that I haven't loved for some reason or another. I love authors that can just take a little tiny slim piece of work and just pop you in the mouth with it. It's just like a little punch in the mouth. So good. And Mr. Clark does that phenomenally in this book. I've actually read everything that I think Tor has published by him. The Haunting of Tram 15, which I loved. Black God Drums, I believe, was his first one. And he has a new one coming out that I cannot wait to get my hands on. Okay, so clearly I'm a Mr. Clark fan. But this book, this is a reimagining of American history told from a science fiction horror sort of perspective. Basically, we're about 1915, I believe, right at the start of the 1900s, and he's reimagined that the movie The Birth of the Nation, I think that's what it's called, The Birth of a Nation, sort of casts a spell across of America and reinvigorates people joining the Ku Klux Klan. However, in this book and in this world, the Klan is sort of separated into 2 pieces. There's the first piece that we are historically aware of and know who those people were and their involvement. And then there's also the Ku Kluxes, which are actually demons that infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan in order to bring it and the world to an end. Our main characters are 3 women who belong to an organization that hunts down these demons because they are able to see them in their real form. Not everybody can. And they hunt down these demons and they take them out. But it is clear that there is a plan in place, a thing on the move. The movie, A Birth of a Nation, is about to be re-released again. And in doing so, it's going to bring all of this back up, all of this racial tension, all of this hatred, and it's going to cause sort of the world to end. And our 3 women are just kick butt ladies. They are fascinating. They are sort of adventurous. We have our main character who has sort of this mythic sort of demonic sword that she uses in order to slay these demons. We have a sharpshooter who just sits away and sort of is like a sassy, brilliant character. They're so good, you guys. And then our 3rd character is sort of like a woman who was she's just got sort of like that military gruffness vibe to her, but in the same time, there's a lot of heart. This book is one of those books where you dive into it, and at first, it's an adventure story. It's about these women hunting these demons, and it is fun, and it is scary, and it is adventure packed, and it is all the stuff you need for a book to just drive you along in the story. But what Mr. Clarke does so amazing in this book is that he also interweaves a discussion regarding race and just like hatred in America during this time period. And you will see a lot of continuing themes into the modern age. And he just has these conversations while at the same time giving you a story that is just a romp. It is so good. It's just amazing to me how complex this book is in so few pages, but in the same time, it could be a movie, and you would just be entertained by these women hunting down these demons and the evilness that they bring. I hope that I did a good job of telling you guys about this book, because I have thought about it over and over and over again since I read it, and I just am so amazed with him as an author, because everything I've read by him has been a novella, and everything has been such a complete and compelling story. He just has a way with character, he has a way with adventure and storytelling, but at the same time, he also integrates different commentaries about different pieces of history and does it so seamlessly that it is just a brilliant part of the overall narrative. I hope that was a good job, because I really want you to read this. So that is Ring Shout by P. Djeli Clarke, and this is out from TorDotCom, and it is amazing, amazing. Okay. So you guys know a couple years ago, I read a short story collection for the National Book Award called The Heads of Colored People by Thomas Spires. I can't remember her first name, Natalie, I think. I'm so sorry. But I loved that collection, and I would argue that it was my favorite short story collection I have ever read until now. Until I read The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans, and this is out now from Riverhead Books. I have to say thank you to Riverhead Books. Actually, I need to say thank you to Tor as well. Both of them sent me these review copies, and both of them have blown me away, so clearly. This is hands down the best short story collection I have ever read in my 43 years of life. Danielle Evans does an amazing job of using short fiction to create a small piece of time and story that tackles not only human emotion, but also social construct, and also makes commentary on sort of a level that is above the story that it's being told. Now, this book is a collection of short stories, and at the end, the Office of Historical Collections is actually a novella. It's a little bit longer, but it is amazing. So I'm going to tell you, it's hard in a short story collection. I don't want to talk about each short story, but what I do want to talk about are three that have really stuck with me. One is a story called Alcatraz. It is a story of a young girl and her mother who go to visit Alcatraz because it turns out that her grandfather, I believe, was imprisoned there at one time. And that imprisonment sort of changed the whole entire dynamic of the family. He was put there wrongfully, and it has been the young woman's mother's like sort of goal ever since to get sort of reparations for the fact that her grandfather was wrongly put in prison, and she's never won that battle. So they bring together some distant parts of their family to go to Alcatraz, and they get there, and it's a story about how that place affected the family, but it's also about the dynamic and what we take away from different members of our family, and how important one person can be to one section of the family, and the other section of the family sort of dismisses the history, and how it can sort of create rifts when you realize that the dynamic of the family is sort of predicated on what has happened in the past to the prior members of the family. It is one of those books where it's a discussion of a mother-daughter relationship that is so poignant and well done. And at the same time, we get sort of a dive into one woman's mind in a way that is multidimensional and intrinsically about dealing with all of the stuff that comes before you. I hope that's a good breakdown of the story. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The next story I was going to tell you guys about is Anything Could Disappear. And this is a story about Vera. Vera has gotten on a Greyhound bus. She's sort of leaving her life and she's traveling to New York. And on her way, I believe it's in New Jersey, a woman gets on the bus with two children, a young child and a sort of older girl, a young boy and older girl, drops the baby right next to our main character and goes to the back of the bus and winds up getting off the bus and leaving the child. Now Vera arrives where she's supposed to arrive, tries to find the mother, she's not there, and makes the decision to keep the child and start her new life in New York. And everyone just assumes, of course, because it is she is Black and the child is Black, that she is the mother of the child. And she just sort of lets that go and sort of goes with that story. And she sort of develops a life as a mother of a child that she should never have had. And it's about that decision and how that decision formulates the life that Vera is going to lead going forward. But what happens is eventually things go down, the people that she works with or get in trouble, and she recognizes that she has to make some other decisions. And she finds out that the father of the child is looking for him. And what is she going to do with that information? And how is she going to make those decisions? It is so good. Now, I think it's Roxane Gay says in her speech or on her blurb, I believe, but what Danielle Evans does better than any short story writer that I've read in a really long time is there's always a twist or a different angle, and you will not see it coming, you guys. You won't. And it is like an aha moment that will make you start the story all over. Now, I can't not talk about this book and not talk about the Office of Historical Corrections, which is the novella at the end. It is so good. But basically what it is a government agency has been created that basically goes around correcting historical inaccuracies in print, on plaques, on calendars, on just things. So these people, and our main character's job is basically to go around and correct historical inaccuracies, have conversations with people about misconceptions about history. Our main character is brought in to go to this small, tiny town to correct a situation that was caused by another member of her organization who went in and sort of made the correction and ruffled a ton of feathers, because sometimes history is not remembered the way that it happened because it hurts a lot of people's feelings. And what happens is when this correction is made, it causes an uproar in this tiny town. And so our main character goes there to make sure that the correction is accurate and starts investigating the history of this family. And at the same time, it turns out she has a history with the woman who made the original correction, and she shows up with a desire to sort of do something with it to start her career. And you learn about the dynamics of their past, you learn about the dynamics of their present, and you also just learn about how much can be put underground historically. So the Office of Historical Corrections is not only correcting sort of the blatant historical mistakes, but it also is a discussion about the things that go unsaid and the history that's washed away in order to make people feel better about themselves. It is complex. It is engaging. The characters are fantastic. And at the same time, it will make you think about so many different things at the same time. She is brilliant. I have not read Before You Suffocate Your Own Full Self, which I believe is her first collection, which I am on the hunt for right now, because I'm telling you, The Office of Historical Corrections by Danielle Evans is now my favorite short story collection that I've ever read. Please get your hands on it. Riverhead Books, thank you so much for sending me this copy. Okay, last but not least, in any way, all of these books, one of them had to be last, and is The Orchard by David Hopen. And this is out from Ecco. And it comes out in November. I want to say it comes out November 27th. I'm pretty sure. I apologize, it doesn't have the exact date on it. But what I will say is that this is one of the most compelling high school campus novels that I have ever read in my entire life. So our main character is Ari. He is an only child, an only son and he and his family are very Orthodox Jewish, and they live in Brooklyn. And they live a very, very tight, community-driven life where school is mainly about studying the Torah and their faith, and they live very much within those constructs. What happens is the father winds up losing his job, and in a twist, decides to take a job in Florida. So they're going to move from Brooklyn to Florida. It's Ari's senior year, so he'll have one more year of high school. And he is going to move to this Jewish community in Florida and go to this very high-end Jewish school, high school. But what happens is he gets there, and it's clear that the community that they have moved into does not observe their faith in the same way that his family does. And Ari is a teenage boy, and within the construct of his religion has not experienced everything that these other students have experienced. His next door neighbor invites him over. They become very good friends, and he starts to take this turn down experiencing the world in different ways. He, deals with being able to actually see and talk and with women in a different way than he was in his old community. Drugs play a part, and he becomes part of this friend group, this group of boys that all are having sort of a different conversation about what their future is going to be like. And there's a young boy in that group named Evan, who you find very soon out his mother died very recently, and he has sort of been spiraling out of control since that happened. And Evan and Ari sort of have a similar a similar framework with how they view the world. They're both very, very smart in very different ways, but they have a philosophical sort of argument through the entire narrative where they don't want to be similar to each other, but they are for many reasons. And I don't want to give any of those away because I think this book does an amazing job of taking what we know as a normal story, new boy, new school, old way of life, new way of life, but sort of turning it on its head and giving us a very complex, integrated view of this community. But also what it does is it has really compelling discussions regarding religion, faith, ethics, morality. The school is run by a rabbi who is really invested in both Evan and Ari and their future and their intellect. And he allows them to experience things that are outside sort of the constructs of the faith in order to sort of broaden their minds. But Evan is continuously in this spiral, and things continue to go out of control. And it is heartbreaking, this book, but it is so good. It kind of reminded me in a lot of ways of Dead Poets Society. If you guys like that sort of inspirational teacher, this is less about the teacher and more about the children. And I say children, they're teenage boys, they're, senior levels. It's also about a bunch of the girls that they involve themselves with in their relationships, but it's really about this friend group and how the dynamic between them and the structure and how one of them sort of eventually continues to derail everybody. I thought it was brilliant, and I cannot stop thinking about it. And it's a debut novel. It is freaking amazing, and it comes out this month, and I hope you guys get it. I don't know how to explain it any more than that. I just think it's so good. And it challenges you to think about different things as the characters sort of debate religion and faith and ethics. You find yourself on one side, and you don't know who you exactly want to believe in, but you are also watching as people either deteriorate or grow in a lot of ways. Yeah, I can talk about this book forever. I think it is amazing. So that's The Orchard by David Hopen, and this is out from Ecco Books in November. At the end of November, I think, please get your hands on it. So these are 3 books that I've read lately that I cannot recommend highly enough. All of them 100% worth your time. So much so that I'm about to talk to 20 minutes about 3 books, you guys. Clearly, I am passionate. Please get them. As always, if you're a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. Thank you so very much. If you are new to my channel, I hope you like this. I hope you pick up all 3 of these books, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about them. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.